Good afternoon and welcome back to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me at MarketSite is Paul Golden. He's the director of smartaboutmoney.org. We're going to focus on preparing your graduate to financially leave the nest. Thank you so much. Very, very topical now.
Well, this is the time that you need to be doing it.
I'm hoping all the Nasdaq interns and our recent hires are paying attention to this one. But let's talk about the importance of setting up bank accounts and how to pay bills.
Well, as a parent, we hopefully are not. We're building up to this, right? We've been engaging with our kids in regular discussions, our teens, our young adults, and we've been saying, okay, we've got you the savings account. You understand the importance of doing that. Maybe we've been using an allowance as a behavioral teaching tool, been using that appropriately. Maybe we've been sharing some of the mistakes we've made over the years and our experiences, because I think that's very powerful. So once you've done that, you've built up this body of basic foundational knowledge, and now we can help them move into the world. Starting with the bank accounts, I think it's very important. They already have a savings account. Let's get them a checking account. I think both the parent and the teen should be involved in that process.
Right.
And maybe the parent should also be a joint owner on that account. And there's two real reasons that that's appropriate is because, one, you can monitor the account and help them course correct over time, but then you can make transactions, if you need to in their place. So it's really tricky. There's a lot of stuff out there. Find the best account that works for you. There's a lot of student account options. Nothing is going to be completely free, so understand where fees are likely to kick in. Overdraft charges, minimum balance fees, foreign ATM fees, those type of things. We really want to be aware of that, but look for those things in your account.
Well, how about paying for life on campus? Because I would imagine it's overwhelming. You're finally out of the house, and now
right.
You have free reign.
Well, you're exercising independence in every way possible, and financial is one of those. And so, okay, great, you have your own place. Whether you're in a dorm or off-campus housing, you probably don't need to outfit that to the nines. Let's stay away from IKEA and Target and getting the coordinated furniture and the coordinated bed patterns and all that stuff. We don't need to be doing it. You're going to have a lot of expenses come up. I think it makes sense to get your course syllabus ahead of time. That's going to help you determine technology needs, so you're not overbuying. You probably don't need fancy audio recorders and high-end laptops, and if you're a photography student, you don't need the highest-end camera. Find out what you're going to need and just build out those basics. Also helpful with books. We know used books are a lot cheaper. There's a lot of online resources that you can go to that actually have a lower price point.
How about credit card usage?
Credit cards are tricky. When I was in school, applications were all over campus. That's a little bit better now. I don't like the stigma that credit cards have as being a negative thing. They're actually a very positive financial planning tool. We just have to use them responsibly and appropriately. So you need to make sure that your teen understands what's an appropriate use. It's not beer and pizza with the fellas, and it's not spring break, although that's fun. That's not what it's for. It should be used for emergency purposes and understanding what those appropriate expenses are. If you're worried about your teen overspending, probably a secured or prepaid Visa, or credit card is the way to go, because that's going to set a pre-spending limit on it. You can also bring him onto your card as an authorized signer. That's going to require a little bit more trust on your part, a little bit more responsibility on theirs. So,
and that kind of ties into getting a handle on spending in general.
Absolutely, but as long as they're involved and you're involved, you're kind of continuing that discussion, and that's what should be happening.
All right, and what about managing a first job? It's got to be tricky. How do you ask for what you want to get paid? Understanding benefits, understanding your retirement.
Right, and parents can be involved in this process as well. We've been following teens through their time from college all the way into the workforce and seeing the challenges that they're dealing with. We're seeing that parental involvement is continuing, and the young adults want that and need that. They need help understanding what the paycheck looks like. It's not going to be your gross pay. Who's taking out money? What does that look like? What's the bottom line? Where's all this money going for taxes? And then the retirement part. I think we should all be conditioned to putting toward our retirement savings, especially if we're getting a match. We kind of get a little bit short-sighted, especially when we're younger. We want that extra $50 in our paycheck. But if you can see the value of that long-term, that time value of money, and understand that, that's going to make a difference over the long term. I think that's very important.
Especially not taking advantage of the match, it's free money.
Well, and don't leave that on the table.
Exactly.
That's very important.
All right, and to wrap it up, establishing an emergency fund, how important is that?
It's important for everyone. There's a 70% probability every year that something's going to financially set back. So, right? I mean, the car breaks down. I had something not too long ago.
I had that happen last
Something
week.
happens at the house. Laptop crashes. You get an unexpected medical expense. So if you're in that 30% that nothing happened this year, cool.
Yeah, watch out next year.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not what? It's not if it's going to happen, it's when. So we should all have an emergency savings. A lot of people say 6 to 9 months is where you want to be. I don't like that, because really, I mean, the math is if you saved 10% of your income, it would take you 7.5 years to get to that benchmark. That becomes really overwhelming for a lot of folks. So start small. Start $500. Show yourself that you can achieve that level. Right. Get up to 1,000 and never stop. I've had to use my emergency savings and drain it like 4 times.
Yep.
And it's frustrating, but it did what it was supposed to do.
It's better than the alternative of
turning to
Ruining your
credit
credit,
or,
right,
you know,
exactly.
having to borrow, you know, against a retirement account or friends and family or some other means.
All right, well, thank you very much. All helpful advice.
Good.
All right, and thank you for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.